So it's day 267 of Hey, What Are You Doing Today? What what a huge impact, what a huge difference this has made on my life. It's the sixth day of the new year. It's the sixth day I'm continuing in this new frame of mind, which I can pretty wholeheartedly accept as a change, as something that's different and that's constant and that's here to stay. It's something that it continues to grow, continues to get stronger versus fading away. Sometimes a new concept or a new outlook will come into my world or my reality, and after a couple of days that kind of fades. This is the first time in a long time, maybe the first time ever, where something has come in, made a huge impact, a huge change, and then continued to get more and more focused versus the other side of kind of drifting away. A couple of things I just want to talk about today, and hopefully I don't forget any of the components. But the first thing, yesterday was kind of a day off for me. I spent a lot of time at home by myself, and one thing I noticed is that this new outlook, this new, whatever it is, for lack of a descriptive word for it, but it really seems to require some kind of human interaction. It requires that. On my own yesterday, I was still aware of it. I still kind of felt it, and I still pursued things a little bit differently. However, it seems to be much more powerful in a daily interaction with people. I noticed that today, as soon as I went outside, it was just this breath of fresh air, and then as I continue to think about things or not think about things, whatever the case might be, in different scenarios. Sometimes not thinking about things I've noticed is even more beneficial. In terms of staying in tune with that energy I was talking about in the few videos before this. But that human interaction is so powerful. It's just to see it in effect is great. Just to see how my world has completely changed because of it. But I just want to make that comment that I noticed it's stronger for me when there is human interaction. There's something about that kind of makes it grow more powerful. Excuse me. I feel like I'm developing just a little bit of a cough, a little dry throat going on. One of the things that I've been doing, I decided, I don't know how long it's been, at least a few months, but I decided I wasn't going to watch the news anymore. I didn't see any value or benefit in it, and if anything, I saw a lot of negative energy, a lot of negative things coming from it. That it's almost like evil or destruction, or looking upon other people's hardships, or looking upon what people do that we inherently know is incorrect. That drama that news creates, it's almost developing into like a celebrity of sorts, to be on the news, and then to see disaster here, and it was just too much. I didn't want to hear about another person walking into somewhere and shooting it up. I didn't want to hear about another bombing. I didn't want to hear about innocent people being killed, and all those things. And I don't want to hear about the old lady that got her car stolen and was beat up, or any of it. It just finally one day, and I can't remember how long it's been, I turned it off, and I started noticing how much better I felt. That and compounding with other things that I've been doing, but just eliminating all news whatsoever. And it was kind of funny, in the back of my mind, I was thinking, I may have mentioned this in a previous video, but I was thinking that I would be the perfect candidate for a jury, because I really have no idea what's going on out there in terms of different crimes that have taken place. I think I did mention that once before. I never even looked into it, but there was a shooting at a church not too many months ago. That's right around when I believe that's right around when I stopped watching the news, but I knew nothing about it. I have no idea whatever became of it, or it's none of my business, and me being a part of it almost gives energy to it, that energy that it doesn't need, to encourage the next person to do something crazy, is kind of the way I feel about it. However, while I was at home yesterday, someone a friend of ours brought, they're going to Florida, so they brought a pet bunny into our house for us to watch. Kind of an interesting situation. It's not something I would normally have. You know, to each his own. And but a bunny doesn't appeal to me as a pet. Appeals to me as an animal. You know, I'll love and cherish. Oops, sorry about that. I actually ran out of memory on my phone, so that's the first time that's happened. I got a pretty big storage space on it, but I got a ton of stuff on it right now. But anyway, what I was saying is they brought this bunny over, and you know, to each his own. So the loon and I are taking care of it, and I walk over, and they brought some newspapers with it, I guess, to kind of line the underneath some of the bedding. For it, and the two newspapers happen to be the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal. I've never looked at either one of them. You know, I've known about them all my life. Not really known anything about them, but I've never looked at them. And I decided to pick one up just almost more out of nostalgia. I wanted to hold it and feel it. And I couldn't remember the last time I had read a newspaper or looked at a newspaper. I think when I did, it was mostly the comics when I was younger. I was never much of a newspaper reader, but at the same time, I hadn't seen one in a long time, and picked it up and was just hit with. You know, there's a lot going on in the world around me. I can turn off the news. I can turn off the things that I don't need. You know, I don't need to hear about a car accident or a mass murder. I don't need to hear about a robbery or someone in a house fire. I don't need to know necessarily about personal disasters that people go through. However, you know, as I'm reading through the Wall Street Journal, I'm looking at advancements in technology. I'm looking at virtual reality. I'm looking at where the Chinese economy is going. I'm looking at a couple of princes in Saudi Arabia and what's developing there with the price of oil going down. I'm looking at the housing market, the car sales market. So many different elements of the world that I am a component of, and it is kind of good. It's all of a sudden I sense it is good to know that information, and it is good to have that information and be aware of the world that is going on around me. It's kind of a fine line. Do I live in complete darkness, or do I keep my mind open and that inner voice that speaks to me? And I think we all have that. I can't speak for anybody except for me, but I'm aware of it. That inner voice will just told me, you know, this is important stuff. You know, avoid the other stuff. This is important stuff. So now that's one of my daily tasks now, to kind of educate myself on the world and what's going on around me. I think that it can only benefit me to know what's going on in Thailand, you know, and learn things will come from that, whether it be geographical, historical. Keep my eyes open on how things are moving. So it's a very, very valid component that I was leaving out, and it's nice to kind of have that as one of my tasks daily now, that I have to look at what's going on in the world around me. Read a news source. Doesn't necessarily have to be the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times. Those just seem to represent kind of what I'm talking about in a strong way. So that's where I'm going to go for that medium. That's the medium I'm going to use for that information anyway, and until something better presents itself. But just one of those things where as I change, I'm aware of it, and I can recognize the value in it. It also happened this morning. I was putting my lunch together, and when I started this endeavor, fruit was not a normal component of my diet by any way, shape, or form. I probably ate maybe half a dozen pieces of fruit over the course of a year. That's kind of where I was at, as bad as that sounds to me now. But I put on, you know, my daily tasks. Task: eat 2 pieces of fruit, and another task was eat 2 vegetables. Anyways, I've grown. My palate has changed. Now I really enjoy fruits. Now I can really tell the difference between a nice piece of fruit and a not so great piece of fruit. I can, you know, the fruits that I do like, different kinds of pears that I like, different kinds of grapes that I like. There's a new sense of flavor, a new awareness of flavor that I've gotten from that. And but I'm looking at this. I'm putting together my lunch in the morning, and I'm looking. I have like 7 different kinds of fruit, and I only have like 2 vegetables. And it hit me. I was like, you know, fruit's good. Fruit's good for you. Fruit's good for me. this is the voice kind of speaking to me. It says, but vegetables are better. And I haven't trained myself to really enjoy the flavor of vegetables. You know, I'll eat broccoli because I'm going to eat broccoli. I'll eat cauliflower or mushrooms or avocado. I really enjoy, and certain tomatoes I've recently started enjoying quite a bit. But it hit me as like I really need to be eating more vegetables. You know, not so much fruit. Fruit's good, but I can't be having 10 servings of fruit and only 2 servings of vegetables every day. That's not the way to do this. So now I've upped it to I must eat 4 servings of vegetables a day. That's a daily task. But it's not so much that. That's not so much the point. The point is really paying attention to myself, what I'm saying to myself, what that inner voice is speaking to me, and when something comes that's a big change, it's completely opposite of what I was thinking, you know, in terms of avoiding all news because I saw it as a negative thing, and now all of a sudden I recognize that there's a lot of very valid world news and advancements that I need to pay attention to. So I need to be able to adapt and move when I recognize something as being incorrect, something that I've kind of made a staple, and now I can change it. Now my staple is I'm probably not going to eat as much fruit. I'll eat more vegetables because I recognize the validity in that, and hopefully I'll grow and learn to really enjoy vegetables, which doesn't sound that too far-fetched to me at this point. You know, 267 days ago I would have thought you were crazy if you told me I was going to enjoy fruit, but now I do. I like it quite a bit. But it's just one of those things for me to be able to be prepared for a dramatic change in my beliefs or thoughts at any given time. It's okay, and that's just moving. I think I talked about it once before, looking at life as parkour and bouncing off the obstacles or bouncing off the things that come to me. I'm getting better at that. I'm getting better at seeing different things and changing my perspective and keeping an open perspective. But there's a lot of validity to that world news. There's so much that's going to come from that. There's no doubt in my mind as I make it a daily task to stop and look into what's going on in the world, whether it be business, whether it be tech, whether it be whatever. I'm gonna take something from it. It's gonna become very valuable. The other things that I wanted to talk about. I've never been much of a giver. Never really donated too much to anything. And this new perspective that changed at the beginning of the year, another element came to it, and that is, if somebody asks me to do something, be completely willing to do it, and be willing to do it beyond what they're even asking, so that if we get into it and all of a sudden it turns out that moving furniture means 3 days of moving a whole house for somebody. That's what I've got to do. And there's a fine line. I recognize that when doing that, when telling myself if anybody asks me to do something, I'm going to do it for them. There's a fine line between that and somebody will catch on and try to take advantage of that. And I need to be aware of that. And when that situation arises, I need to know to turn that perspective off. But in that perspective, all of a sudden now there's a gratification, there's a sense of joy in completing these things. Nobody's really asking for anything too big, but as I see people, if somebody comes and asks me for change, I used to hate that. It used to drive me nuts. I used to think, I pay so much in taxes and this and that. I work hard. I have very little free time, and here you are standing on the corner asking me for change. But you know what? If you're going to ask me for change, I'm going to give it now. And the giving it's not going to be in you receiving that joy comes from. That joy comes from me being grateful and thankful that I have the capacity to do it. And it's not me to judge what your situation is. It's not me to judge what another person's situation is, whether they're, I have no idea what they're going through. Maybe they are just being lazy. Who knows? But that's not for me to judge. What it is in giving is that's an immediate reward. And I noticed that last night. I had this. It's really cool. It was a really cool experience. I went to my one of the cigar stores, a store I really like, really kind of a very nicely put together cigar store. I've gone in kind of some dark, dingy basement type stores, but this one's just very nice. Everything's presented very nicely. It's a very good feel to it when you go in. And as I was looking, I wasn't really going to buy any cigar. I was just kind of kind of curious and was walking around killing time, waiting to pick somebody up. But as I walked around, all of a sudden I noticed, I never noticed it before. I'm sure it's been there for the whole time I've been going to this place. But there's almost like a bucket on the ground, a large pail, and it's it was full of cigars. I've never noticed it. All different kinds of cigars, and it says, they're donations for our troops in 3 active war zones. I believe the sign said, and also the store says that they will match a certain amount of donations. And I was like, you know what? That's well, here's somebody asked me for something, so now I got to do it. I got to donate it. But I was thinking about those guys over there. War. I'm not going to get into whether I think war is right or wrong, or where we're at, if that's right or wrong. But the situation is that there's men and women that are away from their families, that are in dangerous situations, that are in situations there for the benefit of all of us. There's no doubt in my mind. And I thought, well, how cool would that be to this guy if he really is somebody that enjoys cigars, to get us, to get a shipment of cigars and pass them around to the guys or the ladies, whoever might want them. So I picked out one really nice cigar. It came in this black tin, had a nice look to it, and all of a sudden in my mind I pictured this this one guy over there, and after enjoying the cigar, carrying that tube with him for whatever reason everywhere he went, and then it coming home and then being put in a box as kind of a memento or memory. So hopefully that'll happen. But beyond that, it's totally up to that person. But it just felt so good. I mean, it felt much more rewarding than it would have had I purchased that cigar and bought it myself. Now I have this whole image of this guy that's away from his wife and kids, and getting a nice cigar and enjoying it in the middle of the desert one day, and then whatever happens to it happens to it. But just that thought, that feeling, just something I wanted to share. There's a beauty in giving. That I wasn't aware of, and it completely reciprocates that gratitude, that gratefulness, and that's a great, for me, that's a great frame of mind to be living in. But just huge, powerful changes. 6 days into the new year, fantastic stuff going on. I think I'm going to leave it with that. It's day 267. Hey, what are you doing today? Thanks.